So this was a bit ago that the Supreme Court, in its infinite wisdom, ruled that this was in May, that wetlands must have a quote continuous surface connection to streams, oceans, rivers, and lakes in order to be subject to federal regulations on pollution. Because
yeah, because a wetland doesn't exist unless it has a very specific kind of what? Kind of what?
So this again speaks to how our paradigm, and this is something I talk about in my new film.
Her new film, which you can find at tothetreesfilm.com, award-winning filmmaker Eleanor Goldfield out with her second documentary, her first being Hard Road of Hope, that won all kinds of awards. I won't list them here because we all need to move on with our days before the next half hour, but check it out.
Thanks. So this just speaks to that paradigm that this is an ecosystem unto itself, and so it doesn't connect to the others unless there's a physical connection through that stream or that lake or that river or whatever the fuck. It's like, what, you fucking idiots? Literally the rain that falls on us may have started in fucking India. That's how the world works, you fucking penis wrinkles. It does not, there's no such thing as a completely detached ecosystem. They all rely on each other.
Is that their argument, that if it's not connected to
this is the argument
another body of water,
wetlands must have a continuous surface connection to streams, oceans, rivers, and lakes to be subject to federal regulations on pollution. So they are not worthy of that protection if they are a wetland unto themselves.
This is so nonsense. It's tough for me to even comprehend it, because what stops them? So they remove all regulation of wetlands. What would stop any company from just trucking their pollution to a wetland? What's it matter if it's connected to a stream or no? We can you just got to pollute a half mile down there.
Because clearly, if it's not connected to another body of water, there's no such thing as pollution, because it doesn't spread, clearly. Because you can only be connected to another body of water if that pollution is going to spread. Otherwise, it doesn't. That's just science. So this affects 63% of wetlands. 63%, which a not unrelated bit of information here. Lahaina, the northwestern part of Maui that was absolutely decimated by the fires.
I have this story I can pull up. Go ahead.
Is naturally a wetland.
Used to be a wetland.
Well, I said was naturally.
Yeah, no, I know.
As in, naturally the Hilton wasn't there.
I'm not correcting. I'm rephrasing.
Right. The Hilton is not a naturally occurring.
Not a naturally occurring Hilton.
No.
It's one of those synthetic Hiltons.
Was put in later.
They put in a synthetic Hilton, man.
So it's naturally a wetland, and was at one point the capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom because of its rich water sources. And private entities between the 800s until today basically diverted that water.
Or perverted it.
Both, yes. Well played. 75% of West Maui's water is controlled by private entities, and 25% is controlled by the county government. And this, that diversion of the water caused, in a lot of ways, the destruction that we've seen on Maui. And this is not this is not unlike what we've seen, for instance, in southern Louisiana, with the loss of so much of the land due to climate change, because the oil and gas companies destroy so much of the wetlands, which act as a natural barrier to hurricanes, to floods, to all kinds of shit. They act as that sponge. And then you remove those, you destroy those, and all of a sudden you've got epic fucking biblical style flooding all of the time because you've ruined that ecosystem. So I mean, for many reasons, the idea that it's only bad if it's connected to another body of water is fucking dumb. But if for no other reason, this shit, wetlands in and of themselves are protective spaces against the worst aspects of climate change, be they floods or fires. Like, they are a natural barrier to our own dumb shittery. Like, they are trying to help us survive our own dumb fuckedness, and our response is, you're not fucking important. Like,
yeah, we are part of this natural world, and we have decided to pretend as if we're not, and we think we need to conquer it, when in fact, when we conquer it, we die. So the idea of like, oh no, we're this separate thing, humans are this separate thing, and we just get to do what we want with all of the other things, is just utter stupidity. And of course, now we're seeing the ramifications, not just in climate crisis, but in so many other things, the plastics around the world, and the killing of 50% of all land species over the past 40 years. And we're seeing the ramifications of us pretending we're not the natural world. We spawned from this natural world on this earth, and now we act like we are some sort of other thing. Now, there's an argument to be made that we're now a parasite, I guess. But.
yeah. Well, there's a movement now ongoing to try and use this disaster, as opposed to shifting it to the private, to the further bastardization, the colonization and capitalization of Maui, to shift that and instead use this as a time to ensure that there can be regenerative practices. And so I know that there are Native Hawaiian groups and mutual aid groups that are trying to basically protect these places that are currently destroyed, but to rehabilitate them in a way that is regenerative for that ecosystem, as opposed to making a fucking Hilton.
I find it crazy that. Sorry.
That's on my face. So do I. For those of you listening, Lee, once again,
I don't
share the screen over my face.
It's tough to know which of the little toggles is the right toggle.
You should make a note. This toggle.
Do I draw on Sharpie
fucks up Eleanor's face?
Do I draw it on the screen in Sharpie?
However, you got to get through it. You could also use a Post-it.
We post it on the screen.
Yeah.
That'll be great. See, now you've just dove out of your view, so you did that to yourself.
I'm not wanted here.
I find it crazy that 75%. I mean, not crazy. I'm appalled, not shocked, that 75% of water in Maui, in West Maui, is controlled by private companies.
Like what?
So they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And obviously they're not using it in the right ways, or else you wouldn't have had such extreme fire disaster. But it's, this is the selling off of the natural world to corporate entities. This is inverted totalitarianism, and these corporate entities rule and extract the natural world around us. And we go, well, that company's doing well on the stock market.
Well, and of course that you can see that direct relationship. Anytime something good happens for people or planet, the stock market tanks. And you're like, if there was ever more proof that you needed that capitalism is shit, just that specific relationship, that like whatever's good for us is terrible for the market. Like, that's all you really need to know.